Hi guys, my name is Makenze and I was the hog judge for the Butte stock show. To get started, we're going to go ahead and talk about the top 5 overall breeding gilts. Your grand champion overall breeding gilt comes out of class 4 and it's entry number 283. Now if we're going to talk about a female that exemplifies what good livestock should be, I certainly think this one's it. She's incredibly unique in the way she blends her neck in seamlessly to her blade. I love her center body shape. She's textbook in terms of show pig proportions from the side, while still being really effective in the use of her hip and hind leg when she gets out in motors. Now, if I'm going to be really critical, ever so slightly she wants to push out on her hock, and she could stand to be a little bit more full, but once again, I think that's getting really critical of an awfully good one. Your reserve champion overall breeding gilt comes out of class 3, and that's entry number 38. Now this calico gilt's one that I think has a tremendously bright future in front of her. I love how big-footed and stout-skulled she is. She reads with a lot of shape when you get in behind her, and when compared to my champion, is even bolder and fuller in her center body and rear flank. Also one that I think handles herself really well in terms of her feet and legs. Once again, when compared to my champion, she's not the most exotic-headed, she's not the freakiest fronted gilt that I've ever seen, but one that I think is going to do big things down the road. Your third overall breeding gilt comes out of class 5, and it's entry number 67. This gilt's just an absolute powerhouse. She's a wide-chested, bold-bladed gilt who's incredibly dimensional in her center body and rear flank, big in her upper hip, and she still balances really nicely from the side. She's just not built with the extra bells and whistles that come in with my grand and reserve, and I just think a really nice female to go ahead and lay into third. Your fourth overall breeding gilt comes out of class 1, and that's entry number 257. Now, if I'm going to talk about one that gave me the most amount of challenge when I was picking my top 5, it's this one. Because if there's going to be one word that I have to use to describe this gilt, it is stout. I'm talking from her head to her tail. This one's stout all the way through. In addition to that, I'm in love with the way her front end's put together. She's incredibly sound on her feet and legs. Where the decision gets a little tough for me is compared to my top 3, she's a little bit more green, she's a little bit more closed up, and just gives up a little too much weight, but one that I think is going to do a lot of things down the road. Your fifth overall breeding gilt comes out of class 2, and that's entry number 119. First off, I want to go ahead and commend this young man on his presentation. I think his skin and hair looks absolutely phenomenal. Once again, this is another stout featured gilt. She's really bold-ribbed, big in her upper hip, and I think from her hip forward, she proportions really nicely. He doesn't really ever get her head up, but she's really extended from her blade forward. It's her hip back where I start having issues. She's a little shorter hipped, she's a little steeper hipped, and one that tends to get a little bit more labored when set out on the drive. But overall, I think a really nice gilt to go ahead and round out the top 5.